Hello and welcome to the GW9 edition of the FPL Scope podcast. I am Matthias and I am 49k overall in FPL, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Kevin, and he just had an egg sandwich today, so he has a bad stomach, and you can't teach that either. So Kevin, how are you doing?
Yeah, you know what? Could be better, could be worse in terms of Helsingborg. Won beautifully in the weekend. Probably going to stay up and not get relegated. Everton got absolutely smashed by City. Even though, to be fair, Everton had their chances.
Yeah,
Maybe should have even scored a couple in that
Iliman and
game. But
Jai.
yeah, and I think if Grealish would be playing, we might have actually scored. So, uh, encouraging. I said in the previous kind of loser mentality, but I said as long as we lose well, I'll take some positives from that game. But Barcelona looking great, won very well in the weekend, won really well in the Champions League. So, you know what? It's a lot of hit and miss, sort of like my FPL team this season. A lot of hit, a lot of miss, but can't complain really.
Yep, it's been a lot of hits early on in the season, but now lately it's been a couple more misses, including this past game week. 55 points, you made no transfers, you had 0.0 in the bank, and your team didn't do as well as planned, at least, but you had potentially a variation of your team that would have been even worse. You were close, or you had like a bit of a deadline decision thing between starting Dubravka or Petrovic, and you also were contemplating potentially going with Salah as captain rather than Haaland. And looking at that, like if you had done the other way around, had Petrovic in goal, that's 7 less points, and Salah rather than Haaland, that's 11 less points. That would have been a huge disaster. So at least you avoided that. But otherwise, what is your outlook for your team? What is working? What's not working currently? The second one is probably easier to answer than the first one. So yeah, what do you have to do with your team going forward now? And do you have any regrets with how you handled Game Week 8 as well?
I mean, the obvious thing and the glaring thing is obviously the lack of Gabriel. It has been haunting me since I got rid of him on my wild card. I mean, I fixed a lot of things with the wild card and got points in different ways, but Gabriel has finally hit his stride. He's finally gotten the goals and assists that he should have been getting from game week one, to be completely honest, because
Yeah.
a lot of his headers went wide, a lot of his sort of headed goals were stolen by Timber, like these sort of things. Like just he didn't have the margins with them, and now he seems to not be able to do anything wrong, which is maybe synonymous with Arsenal currently because they've been red hot and looked great, and you know there's shades of Xavi's Barcelona in there where they're just winning 1-0 and comfortably, but they are escaping the haram ball sort of accusations because they ended up destroying Atletico Madrid
Yep.
in the midweek, and even Lewis Smelly and Marta Smelly combined for a
It's a
goal. So
great goal.
I'm very, very impressed with what I've seen from Arsenal. Encouraging to see that Yekres finally scored himself a goal, even a
2 goals.
brace at
Yep.
that, and just, I mean, kind of shit goals, but you need that. And sometimes when you're amongst the shit, you just need some shit goals to go your way.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was in very good spirits afterwards. He made fun of Mike Richards' Italian and all this type of stuff because Henri spoke a little bit of Swedish to Yekers, which was quite cool to see. Uh, but yeah, I'm not very happy with some of these players. I have a lot of faith in the 11 that I actually fielded. Dubravka, I was very happy with because, like I said, Burnley or sort of like Sunderland, they do okay at home and
Mhm.
shown a little bit of gusto there. Diouf not playing,
Yeah.
complete shambles by Nuno there. I don't understand how they tactically fielded against Brentford
When you have a
when
chance to play Walker Peters at left back and Ollie Skarls at right back, you have to take it. So
why the hell would you play opposite
I don't know.
footed players?
I don't
Like
know.
they're not Lam. Like what is
I don't
this?
know. Let's
Anyways,
move on from West Ham.
Van de Ven looked great until he didn't
Yeah.
because Aston Villa just completely stole that match away from Spurs. Spurs looked pretty good in the game
Yeah.
throughout, but they're starting to just have a complete free fall. And then, of course, in Champions League fantasy, they of course keep a clean sheet and
Yeah.
draw against Ansu Fati, poor guy.
He could have gotten an assist as well, Van de Ven, if Kudus knew how to stay on side, but he doesn't. So
Yeah, yeah. If I remember correctly, FPL screwed us all. Semenyo obviously should have gotten an assist. I don't care
yeah,
how you play it. I think that ruling was utter bullshit. There's no explanation. They can write a page thing about it. It's bullshit. An assist is an assist at the end of the day, and that's what it was. It doesn't matter if it's inadvertently or not. He's
yeah.
the last person to touch it. It's even a goal if Krupi Jr. doesn't touch it. If I remember
I mean,
correctly.
it hits Semenyo, then Guehi, and then Krupi Jr. scores. So it should be an assist because according to the new rules, that's how he got his second assist. So like his actual assist that he did
like
get
that? It might be, yeah.
was a cross, and then it was stopped by Guehi again, and then it was a goal by Krupi Jr. So both goals are
But
the same.
If Krupi Jr. doesn't actually touch it there, it still goes in, doesn't it? I feel like it was about to.
Maybe, but if it goes in, it's an own goal from Guehi and an assist from Semenyo. It is like 100%. It would have been.
Yeah. So either way, it's an assist.
Yeah, it is.
Complete bullshit. Salah looked like horseshit. My God, has. The Nerd Luck have made a football version of Space Jam and sort of just stolen all the powers. He saved the best for Egypt for once. Kimo might argue, but it's a bit embarrassing how bad he was against United and the fact that Liverpool actually lost that game to United. What a crazy result. And to be honest, Liverpool had several chances to win that game and then failed to convert it. Man United, Amorim, he does show up sometimes in these matches and has shown capabilities of doing that and possibly did one of the craziest upsets in football as of recent years because Anfield has been a bit of a fortress to break down, and all of a sudden they are looking horrible, and I, for one, love it. Calafiori, classic Calafiori, just doesn't put a foot wrong, gets a classic clean sheet. Chris should have played better against Fulham.
Yep.
Had some chances, didn't really get them. Probably could have gone assist to someone as well. Because I think there was once where Leno spills it out and then someone missed the shot and stuff like that. Juan Pedro should have had 2 assists in the Nottingham Forest game. Bit unlucky that he didn't get more. Reinders is just a big question mark right now because the quality's there. His ability is so good, but the output is just really not there. So it's a bit of a conundrum for me because I feel like. Yeah, he should have had an assist to Doku, and Doku just classic Doku. Just either he hits it upper 90 or he just hits it straight to the goalkeeper. It's Calvert Lewinitis if I've ever seen it. But the rest of the team, Petrovic, happy to bench him. Always part of the plan. Dewsbury Hall, he's just gonna haul one day when I don't have him. Goodmanson. I mean, what could you really expect in that game? I can't even remember who they played now.
Burnley. Both of Burnley's goals were really, really well done by Burnley, actually. Like the cross from Kyle Walker, almost said Walker Peters, Kyle Walker, for the first goal. And then Chuana's goal, if you've seen that, that's just a rocket. That was amazing.
Yep. And
other than that, they didn't really have much, Burnley.
Yeah, Josh King. Just
2-pointer.
Josh King.
Classic Josh King.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty unhappy. I was expecting a clean sheet from Jeff to take me to the safety net of 60 points, and he failed me spectacularly, not because of his own doing, but because Nuno's an idiot.
Yeah, that's true. West Ham is a story all by itself. I don't know how to talk about that even. But anyways, let's move on to Kimo's team now, who got a bit more points. 76 points. He's actually gaining on you now. I think it's actually pretty close between the gap between me and you is pretty close to the gap between you and Kimo now. So it's getting a bit interesting now in our internal league a little bit. But yeah, Kimo, another good game week, 76 points. He has gotten points where you have lost them in terms of Gabriel with 12 points from him. Also double Burnley defense for him with Esteve and Dubravka. 17 points from those two guys is amazing. Not even from a bench boost, which a lot of other people did this game week, but just starting them gained him a lot of points. Bruno Fernandes with 8 points as well, stuck with him, and he's rewarded him with nice points there, an assist, and then bonus points, because every time Bruno Fernandes just gets an attacking return, he gets extra bonus points as well. And a whole on captain, obviously, which was also really helpful, alongside the Semenyo assists, which should have been 2 assists, as we've already discussed. But yeah, all over, his team was pretty good, but like I said to him previously, Spurs players are kind of dead in the water now. Like, they are kind of past their good fixtures. They have like a pretty long row of like not so good fixtures now, so I think it's kind of about time to sell those guys. Stach as well, like Kimo did a double transfer of Stach and Gyökeres in last game week. That has not worked out for him at all. I think Gyökeres could still come good, but Stach has just been pretty bad in general. But anyways, what do you reckon for Kimo's team? He has a bit of a short bench as well. Konsa's playing Man City next. Reinildo has sort of been left out of the team now since he got suspended. Like, Hume has been really good for them. They have a lot of defenders that are playing really well, Sunderland. So he has like a bit of a struggle there, but he has also a lot of chips remaining. So he has several things he can do on 2.2 million in the bank, 2 free transfers. Like, we're going to get to his plans later on in this podcast, and he has a lot of options to do stuff with his team now. But yeah, what do you make of Kimo's ascension now and gaining on you, getting closer to you? Do you fear him overall, or do you think you'll be able to put him behind you despite him having 3 more chips than you for the first half of the season?
I mean, I think one of the great things about having a player like Mo Salah in your team is if he comes good, great. If he doesn't come good, you have so much funds that you can do towards fixing things. So that's the one reason I'm not too worried, because I can easily fix and counteract a lot of the bullshit that I've been going through with having Salah, because Salah has just been blanking left and right and not really done a crazy haul this year. So yeah, in regards to that, that's sort of the one good thing. And saving a transfer last week, like nothing I would have done last week would have really changed anything unless I had picked, a Krupi Jr. like sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
if I picked someone who acts like actually hauled. So,
Yeah.
and for that reason, I feel pretty okay. Like if you go into FPL going like, oh, this is the end of the road, like there's like 30 matches left. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, don't worry. It's anything is salvageable. Like you've seen people sort of turn it on and like reach the top 100K, in the last 10 match days. So, and it's very interesting with all the chips that we still have to go. We have 5 free transfers coming up for AFCON,
Yeah.
and like a lot of people's teams might not even have a bunch of these sort of players. So it all depends, really. But I'm not too worried, to be honest, because just like him having an upwards trajectory, that can happen to me at any given moment as well.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing that I should be happy about is that I have a lot of good players and part of the dream team players and some of the players that I've already picked. And I think the saving grace for me is having had Holland from the start. And, the guy's on red hot form,
Yeah.
and more power to him.
Yep. And then what about Kimo's team? Do you think he has a bright future as well with all the chips available?
Yes, I do think so. Good chips. I also think that, like you said, Kudos Pedro Porro can lead to interesting options in terms of both Arsenal defense, even more Arsenal defense, or even potentially looking at the Sakas of the world. Sar, there's so many fun little additions that he can make. Enzo Fernandez as well, who's just popped off and should have had 2 penalties really, but they gave us the chance. We're recording this after the Champions League matches have been played out, and Chelsea absolutely destroyed Ajax. So in regards to that, there is a lot of fun things that he can do with this team as well. I really hope he doesn't. No, actually, fuck that. I hope he's super stubborn and continues having Spurs players, because that would benefit me massively.
Yeah. And Stach, don't forget about him
Mhm.
as well. But yeah, he did better than you, but someone that did even better than Kimo is the manager of the week, who managed to get 100 points, which is always nice to see. Max Smithson, who is
Crazy.
also another one with 3 chips left, wildcard, free hit, and bench boost. And this is a manager that's even higher in the standings than me. So Max Smithson is doing fantastically well so far. 0 transfers made, 0.4 in the bank. But had Dubravka in goal, 9 points. Gabriel, 12 points. Munoz, 10 points. Fernandez, 8 points. Gakpo, 7 points. Mateta, 17 points. That's the main kicker here. 17 points for Mateta against Bournemouth, which is kind of crazy. And Haaland, captain, 26 points. Even benched the Stev, so could have had even more points if he was starting, but I think it was the right decision. Like Senesi against Palace, maybe you could have benched him, I guess, for a Stev, but you wouldn't really, like, Burnley were pretty like lucky to get a clean sheet as well, because Leeds, as always, had major chances. And this time it wasn't even Calvert-Lewin missing them, but 100 points for Max Smithson, and a lot of good fortune so far this season, a lot of good decisions as well, because this team is looking really good for someone that hasn't wildcarded or free-hitted yet. I'm very much impressed by this team in general. Gakpo as well could have had so much more, like hit the post like 2 times, and is just looking like a really good asset currently. What do you make of this team as well? There's a lot of good things about this team, but what are some things that could potentially be better, you think, in future game weeks for this team?
I mean, having both Rangers and Foden could be a bit uh, superfluous, but I think the main thing could be just Verbrugge. I hate Verbrugge. Like Brighton can't keep a clean sheet
Yeah,
whatsoever, so could be something to address there, and potentially, yeah, I would say Verbruggen for sure. Anderson's looking worse and worse with every game weekend.
he
Not
got
even
injured.
training, and
Yeah,
even got injured. So I think there is possibilities to sort of shore up the defense, but otherwise a really interesting team and looking good for the future as well. Considering Juan Pedro has some great fixtures coming up, little bit scary with there's talks about Delap. I can't believe that Delap is returning
yeah,
not
pretty
now but
soon. Yeah.
soonish, and obviously once Palmer's back, Mark Hughes also scoring goals now. Like JP's time isn't limited per se, but it's not looking great, and
It's gonna be more like
yeah.
like early season when people thought, or he got subbed off like pretty early, like 70-ish minutes. I think he's still going to be a
Hmm.
starter, but he's going to be more susceptible to be subbed off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, for sure. And I think Gakpo is looking really good
Gakpo.
so far. And like I remember the commentators were like, "Oh, he's offside." He was so onside for the
The
equalizing
goal. Yeah,
goal, and he looked really good in the Champions League game as well.
yeah.
So I think he's a really fun alternate to Salah. Um, and also Foden, a little bit of a hit and miss, to be honest. So that could be somewhere you can save some funds by getting a Ismail Sarr if you want to triple up there. Maybe a cheeky Eze, for example, because you don't really have Arsenal attack. So
Mm-hmm.
could be interesting to mess around with. But considering you have 3 chips left and almost like 11 game weeks to use them, it's looking pretty okay. So um, yeah, very impressive team. It looks very set for the future as well. It's just the goalkeeper situation that I would definitely address, and also potentially either getting rid of Reinders or getting rid of Foden. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, if you get rid of Foden, you free up more cap space in that sense and have more money in the bank to address some of the other situations. But I understand the pick of Foden. Foden will come good at some point, but that's the
yeah,
issue. That's the issue with a lot of these FPL assets. A lot of them will come good at some point. It's just hard to see when because they're not showing enough consistency.
yeah,
Even with Gyökeres, like I think a year ago, if he wasn't Swedish and if he wasn't an Arsenal player, I would have already sold him.
yeah.
Same with Mo Salah. If Mo Salah isn't Mo Salah, I would have already sold him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it is sometimes. Like, you put faith in guys that have been good in the past, and sometimes it just stops and they can't really perform at the same level. And we've talked about this. We talked about this right before we started doing this podcast as well, that you did sort of the same mistake last season with keeping Haaland for too long when he started struggling scoring as well. So it is really hard to let go of these players. That's why I was pretty happy to, or not happy, but like that's why I felt like pretty good when I needed to get Haaland in for Game Week 6. I had to sell Salah to do it, so like I was sort of forced into selling Salah, and that sort of felt more easy to do, I guess, than if I just were in your situation where I had both, and I could have had both. I probably would have stuck with both of them myself as well. But yeah, Salah, can't really wait for him forever, and you also have like a decent-ish window now to sell him and then reassess a bit for the next few game weeks. Now there are actually some news like right after the Liverpool game that Isak had to be subbed off at the half, and Slot is saying that he has some discomfort in his groin, so let's hope it's not too bad, he says. So could open up things for Ekitike as well. He's been Liverpool's best player almost offensively this season. So yeah, that could be a good thing to go for. Frimpong also had to be subbed off injured in that game. We're still waiting for him to properly explode. And I think he, like hopefully for us, he stays a bit under the radar until Salah goes to AFCON, and then he can start playing right wing and get a lot of things done. Frimpong, because he has so much talent, and we know that from his Bundesliga days, but he hasn't been able to show it so far in Liverpool's system. Hasn't really worked out for him so far. But yeah, Man of the Week, 100 points. And as always, you guys watching as well, you can join the FPL Scope Mini League and become the Manager of the Week yourselves if you get the highest score in one particular game week, like Max Smithson did in Game Week 9. And the league code for the FPL Scope Mini League is FNPQ83, and if you join that league, you can become the Manager of the Week as well. So we'll get back to the Manager of the Week at the end of the podcast when we look at the transfer plans for next game week and beyond that. But yeah, Max Smithson, Game Week 8 Manager of the Week, I should say, and we're going to talk about his Game Week 9 plans pretty soon in this podcast as well, or towards the end of this podcast, I should say. But now we're going to look at the fixtures coming up in Game Week 9. All the matches from that game week we have right here, and all our predictions. My predictions here in orange on the left, and Kevin's predictions in green on the right. And we have pretty similar predictions in general this time around. We're going to talk about a couple of games, and let's just go along with all the games now. First and foremost, Leeds against West Ham. I just lost faith in West Ham completely, so I've just gone with a 2-0 win for Leeds. You said now, like we discussed, who's going to go down. I think West Ham are in huge danger of going down unless they do something drastic. But you said Leeds could potentially be one of those guys to go down instead of West Ham. So you actually went 1-1 here at Ellen Road, where Leeds have been pretty good so far this season. Let's move on. Actually, let's go on to Chelsea and Sunderland. I almost stopped for Leeds West Ham, but I don't want to talk about West Ham. So let's go to Chelsea Sunderland instead and talk about that game, because we have pretty wildly different suggestions for this game, predictions for this game. We agree on most games this game week, actually, and we do these predictions separately, and we don't even know what the other one is predicted. But for Chelsea Sunderland, I have 2-1 Chelsea, and you have 4-0 for Chelsea. That's a pretty high score and a lot of goals for Chelsea. So who do you think will score all these goals? And what do you think of Chelsea assets in general? Like, it seems like a pretty good point to get some Chelsea assets. They did just score like 5 goals against Ajax now in the Champions League, but you predicted this before that game. So what have you seen from Chelsea even before the Ajax game that leads you to believe 4-0 against Sunderland, who have been pretty good so far this season, especially defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I just think Chelsea are in a good moment right now. Good spell of football. Looked good against Nottingham Forest. Yes, it's Nottingham Forest, but
Did they look good
but
though?
then it
First half?
first, yeah, but it doesn't matter what the first half was. They still ended up winning 3-0.
They played
And
Caicedo and Enzo came on. Caicedo came on. Enzo didn't play, but when Caicedo came on, they
yeah,
looked good.
and yeah, exactly, they didn't even have Enzo and still managed to. And again, in the first half, Paul Pedro could have had 2 assists. Like, yes, Morgan Gibbs White could have scored and all this type of stuff, but they equally had chances created and stuff like that, and then ran away with it towards the end. But I think
Bianch.
Chelsea are just in a good spell right now, and with Enzo back, Caicedo scoring for fun lately. Enzo's obviously creating chances and scoring penalties left and right. Like, I think, and Estaval, who I personally think is like, I've been touting him ever since he got the nickname of Messinho. Like, I wanted him at Barca for the longest time and got really pissy that Chelsea ended up signing him, not playing him for like a year and sending him out on loan to Palmeiras. But apparently that is what was required because he's really taken a shine and
Yeah.
uh, doing much better than both Isak and Verts in the Premier League. But besides the point, I just want to clown on Liverpool a little bit. Sorry. And Verts actually broke his streak because I think he got a pretty decent assist today.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, the
I mean, he scored in the
little
Champions
tap
League as
in.
well earlier, didn't he? Like the free kick goal.
I feel like that was for Germany, not
That was for
in the
Germany. Yeah,
Champions
that was
League.
for Germany. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just generally speaking, I think Chelsea just looked good. I think Sunderland have also been really good at home. I think like sure they've shown like I do believe that they've been really good at Stadium of Light, and that's why I've said like even in my predictions I predicted them to win in the previous video and all this type of stuff and podcasts. But I think this is where the sort of bad run of form starts because I think Chelsea have maybe not title ambitions, and I think it's a bit crazy that some pundits were like, "Oh, Chelsea might be amongst the title contenders." Even my brother, massive Chelsea fan, was just like, "No way!" Like
Yeah.
Champions League, yeah, but title contention, no fucking way. And I was like, "All right, well." Um, yeah, so I think this is the type of games that they have to win, and they've struggled a little bit at home. They've been much better away from home. They've
Yeah.
looked much better on the road than in Stamford Bridge. But at the end of the day, I still think that this Chelsea side is getting better and better. They're doing a lot of this without Cole Palmer as well, and
Yeah.
I think they're just going to get better and better. And I think their Moneyball approach to running a football club, it's going to work. These players will create a little bit more chemistry and understand how they play and etc. Romeo Lavia also being back, fit and not injured for the entirety of the season. It's really good for them. They have so many quality players. The one thing that I think that Chelsea really have to do is just buy a really, really like I think they wish Van Dijk didn't sign that contract because they would have thrown all their money to Thiago Silva 2.0 there because of course Van Dijk is amazing despite being a little bit weird at times this season because
Mm.
a lot of people accusing him of, oh, he just doesn't want to get dribbled past. That's why he's conceding a bunch of goals.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, that's the one thing that Chelsea lack, just a leader in their defense, and then they
Mm-hmm.
can actually start making some real headway in becoming title contenders. They have the material there in squad depth. It's just one like I still think that they need like an Victor Jokic, sort of
Yeah.
Erling Haaland
Proper
sort of
striker. Yeah.
striker,
Yeah.
and then just a leader in the back, and then
Yeah.
they're close, man.
And
Reece
a
James,
goalkeeper.
we know that Reece James is capable of this,
Yeah.
and
He's looking really
it's
good.
and I'm very happy I have him in one of my draft teams, if not both now. Still lost, even though he got 18 points, but yeah, Reece James at his best is one of the best right backs in the world. Like it's crazy to say, but he's just always injured. That's always
Yeah.
been his issue.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's been fit for a long time now, and he's looking really good as well. Like filling in so many positions. He played center back in one of these games, like Liverpool, I think. Like when they lost the player, he played center back in that game. Super offensive. Got a lot of points this past game week. Pretty cheap assist with the free kick, like rolling passes to
It's
Pedro
Sergio Busquets, man. It's what we do.
Yeah, and really bad for Marcels
Semenyo.
not saving that shot from Pedro Neto as
Straight
well.
at him as well.
Yeah.
Sells has been
Yeah, he's
horrific this year.
one season wonder. But yeah, Chelsea 4-0. I just want to hear the predictions of which 4 goal scorers or how did the 4 goals come from? Like who scores the goals there?
Juan Pedro Brace because I have him. I fancy Enzo Pen because it just feels like Chelsea are just getting that going. I would also throw in like a defender corner goal because they're getting a lot of defenders scoring goals and from
Yeah,
set pieces as well. So I could see that happening.
Chalobah potentially.
Yeah,
Achampong keeps
potentially.
scoring.
Yeah, although he might get less minutes now that
Maybe.
so many of them are back, but
Yeah, we'll
maybe
see.
not.
We'll see. Newcastle against Fulham. We have predicted a Newcastle win at home at St James's Park. I have a 2-0 win, no goals conceded. You have a goal from Fulham. Also, like just one name who is going to score for Fulham.
I don't think that's going to happen. I just want it to happen because I don't have Newcastle defense.
Fair. But if you pick a Fulham name, anyone, who would you choose?
Uh, 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 like they're so shit right now, and I love it as someone who hates Marco Silva, and my cousin who watches the show is a massive Fulham fan, so and always dunks on Everton whenever he has the chance. So,
Mm. Kevin.
own goal, Dan Burn. No, I was kidding. Own goal, Nick Pope, because I think people are getting privy and having Nick Pope in their team.
Yes, that's true. Man United against Brighton. We have 2-2 in this game, and I kind of want to talk about this game in general because Brighton are just a team that is just completely random. It feels like it's really difficult to know what they're going to do, and you can sort of say the same thing about Man United. Like they've been a bit up and down this season. Now they're sort of back on track again. Have 2 wins in a row. Let's see if they can get to 5. But yeah, just Man United in general. Like after that Liverpool performance where they beat them, but they also conceded a lot of chances second half. Like, how do you look at that? Do you think Man United's season is going to go better and better now, or do you think they're still in trouble now with Amorim in charge?
I think the quality of players that they have is just too good to not turn things around. It's the issue is whether it'll be Almarim in charge by the time that they actually turn things around. But what are the alternatives really? Like who could really be taking over Man United as of right now? That isn't Zinedine Zidane, who's
Xavi,
obviously not going to take the job. I mean, Xavi would 100% take
Gareth
the job if
Southgate.
he's apparently turned down the job because I don't think he can handle a high profile gig like that again because my God, the amount of stick that he kept getting for England despite getting England very far and everything. So I think they just kind of have to ride it with Amarim for now, see if he can get them into a European spot, not Champions League, I think top 8 or top 7, depending on what is actually allocated for European spots, not Conference League. I think they'll be trying to aspire for a Europa League spot.
Yeah.
Whether that will actually happen is a completely different story because you have players like Benjamin Sesko, you have players like Embuemo, Cunha, and still not getting it to work because your defense is shit. So, of course, big old Harry Maguire on this day, a threat from set piece and whatnot, and got a big fucking head, slab head as you were. But I still think United have too much quality there to not course correct. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest mistake Amarim has done so far, and it is what I would say was Pogba's downfall at Man United as well. Not because I think Pogba was bad at Man United. I think the issue was Pogba was consistently being played as a CDM when he maybe should have stayed at Cam because you got to see the best out of him at Cam. Not that I
Mhm.
think he's a bad CDM, but he's amazing as a Cam. Same thing go and much better at CDM than Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes should not be a CDM.
Yeah.
He should be a Cam. He should be controlling the attack. He should be as offensive as possible. But when you have Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, Sesko, like it can be a bit overkill because they're not even playing Kobe Mainu properly. Ugart is like playing inconsistently.
Mhm.
Casemiro's still being forced to be a thing because he makes so much money because he fleeced Man United and
It's been
left Real Madrid.
slightly better this season though, like a little bit
Yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah. To be fair, he was pretty good in, if I remember correctly, he was all right in the Liverpool match.
Mhm.
And yeah, just generally speaking, been better. But I still think Man United have the ability to do okay this year. I think the only reason why I said a draw to against Brighton specifically is just because Brighton are somewhat in a weird moment where they can just beat anyone
Yeah.
really,
Beat
but
Newcastle
still
2-1.
lose to, and then still lose to anyone. But
Yeah.
I think Brighton have also been a bit of Man United's bogey team as of late,
Mhm.
especially last couple of years, and that guy Welbs, I'm sure will want to get a goal at Old Trafford and be applauded off. So yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game for sure. That's also a game that's being played by itself, not alongside any other game. So all eyes will be on Man United and Amorim for that game. We also have Brentford against Liverpool as the last game on that Saturday. And we both have a Liverpool win. 2-1 for me for Liverpool and 3-1 for you for Liverpool. Finally winning by more than one goal, if that's the case, in the league, because they haven't really done that so far, I think. They actually beat Bournemouth first game of the season. They beat them 4-2 because Salah scored that super late winner. But since then, I don't think they've won with more than one goal difference, basically. Arsenal against Crystal Palace. This is also a really interesting game that I want to talk with you about. I have got a 2-1 Arsenal win here. I think Palace just have been so good offensively lately. Like, their numbers, as we're going to see on the fixture ticker now, offensively are just insane. Like, they're creating so many chances for Mateta, especially this past game week. But Mateta and Sarr have been just really, really good in that attack this season. But of course, they're playing Arsenal, the best defense in the league. This is a really interesting matchup for that reason. The best defense against the best offense currently, as it stands at least. Maybe Palace will do the same as City when they face Arsenal, and they'll play super defensively. And Arsenal will try to attack more than they did against City as well. So yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how do you see this game playing out? Because it could be a defensive battle, with both teams going more defensively, because we know Palace are capable of that, or it could just be guns blazing. Palace try to win the game and try to get something from this. So yeah, how do you see the game going? You obviously have a 2-0 Arsenal win, so maybe you're more of the Arsenal will control it, and it will be more like the same old Arsenal variety. But yeah, what do you recommend this game? Like, what can happen here? And do you think Palace have a chance to get anything from this game?
of course. I mean, Palace have shown up against the big boys. It takes a great team to beat this Palace side.
Yeah,
It's breaking the streak or whatever. I can't certainly can't recall a fluky goal by Jack Grealish, maybe, but in that regards, no, of course. I think Crystal Palace can play against anyone. I mean, no disrespect in the 2-0. I just think that Arsenal are in such a good moment right now. And I just believe that Saka's looked good. I think Eze still has a lot more to show. Gabriel crazy, Calafiori crazy, Timber crazy. Like, everyone's looking good.
yeah,
Zubimendi's looking great. Declan Rice is looking great. Like, anyone and everyone that you need from these sort of to win the league, you need all positions to be performing. You can't just have one guy carry the team, but this guy carry it has to be synergy between everything.
mm-hmm.
Raya's looking good. Gabriel's looking good. This guy's looking good. That guy's looking good. So I think just everything's looking great. And I still think that Eze hasn't even remotely shown what he can do. And it's just written in the star that especially if he gets to start against Crystal Palace, he's gonna do a muted celebration. Like, something's gonna happen. He's gonna have that extra spark to do well against them, especially for his new club and in front of the home fans. And yeah, Arsenal just looked great at the Emirates so far, and really big win in midweek against Atletico Madrid. No easy team to break down unless Simeone is done for the year because he's been so inconsistent with Atletico Madrid as of late here and there. So, yeah, I just think that I think that Arsenal 2-0 would have been that regardless of most teams that they would have faced
Yeah,
at this point because they're just looking that great. They're in a really good moment right now. And as someone who hates Liverpool, I love it. Go for it. Please win the league over them, even though it's been like a solid 20 years since you did it. And to do it with, yeah, Chris, and if you're Gabriel,
Gabriel celebration.
do yeah, if you're doing the yeah, Chris, the Gabriel way, fucking idiot. Because he even did that against Sporting a year, or what was it, like a year ago,
Yeah, just
where he
about.
covered his eyes as well doing it. So yeah, I just think Arsenal in such a good moment right now. No disrespect to Crystal Palace, I can absolutely see them also scoring in the game, sure, because
Mm-hmm.
Mateta is looking great.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Sar is really good on the counter attack as well. So, and Munoz is looking good. So, and Gray's getting random assists every game apparently, and going down for pens. So yeah, credit to Crystal Palace. Like they are a difficult side to beat, and again, you have to be a great team to beat them.
Yeah.
But I think if you have league aspirations, this is the type of game you have to win, and this is exactly why they brought in Gyökeres. He loves scoring in these sort of matches. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
let's see what they can do.
gonna be an interesting game for sure. They're gonna play at the same time though as the other big title contender outside of Liverpool, of course, which is Man City, and we have both gone for 2-1 Man City win here against Aston Villa. I think again Holland might be the one to score both goals, but Aston Villa have actually been pretty good, or like better, getting better and better lately. They have 5 wins in a row in all competitions, so it's not an easy game for it's not an easy game at all for Man City. They lost this game last season, I think, as well, with Rodgers just going crazy and scoring a lot of goals, unless that was at Emirates. But yeah, it's a pretty tough game. So we've both gone with a narrow win for Man City, but I think this game could go also Aston Villa's way potentially. But yeah, Man City just have more quality in general. Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest, we're going with the same result here as well. 3-0 for Bournemouth. They are just a really good team currently, scoring a lot of goals, and Nottingham Forest are just not a really good team. We'll talk about Sean Dyche pretty soon with the fixture ticker, because I want to look at how you could potentially target Nottingham Forest and if it's worth targeting Nottingham Forest. But for this game, we both think it's a good idea to target Nottingham Forest with Semenyo, for example. Maybe even someone else, maybe Cloyford on top of that, or Krupi Jr., who's now looking likely to play. We'll see what happens in that game. Wolves against Burnley, we do not have the same results. I've backed Wolves several times this season, and it has not worked out for me. But this time around, I'm the one going for a draw for Wolves against Burnley at home, and you've gone with a Wolves win here, 2-0 for the Wolverhampton Wanderers. So yeah, I'm hoping for some Wolves wins coming up, but not in football, in basketball, but that's another story altogether. And then finally, Everton against Spurs. Your favorite team, Everton, against my least favorite team, or my rival team, I guess, for West Ham, Spurs. And we both gone with a Everton win, because Everton are just doing pretty well currently. Yes, losing to Man City without Grealish makes sense. Grealish is an amazing player, but now he's back fully rested against Spurs. That could mean a lot of goals and assists potentially for the likes of Grealish and the other players from Everton. So I've gone with a 2-1 Everton win, and you've gone a 3-2 Everton win. So all I want to know from that game is who scores the winning goal for Everton.
Ooh, winning goal. I think it'll be the man of the moment right now. And personally, loving the play of Iliman Njai. He's just been phenomenal. I could totally see him scoring a winning penalty, or just creating a moment of magic. Because yeah, unfortunately, our striker situation's a bit miffed. I think Barry's just the big green, just getting used to the country, getting used like he clearly needs to adapt to the style of play rather than the league itself,
Yep.
because Villarreal just play a completely different style of football to what Everton do, and which is very much what I believe with Florian Wirtz and Liverpool. Like Florian Wirtz is struggling because he's not playing a Spanish brand of football like he did with Alonso, where it's possession based. Like if Florian Wirtz was at Arsenal, for example, or City, oh boy, he'd be cooking right now.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's the same thing with Barry. Beto has been just so wildly inconsistent. I love the guy, but he is not finishing his dinner. He should have scored against City. It's
Yeah, he
incredible that
should
he
have.
missed that. Beto of last season during that final run of fixtures would have scored that chance, because it wasn't even that difficult of a chance. He just it's a confidence thing with him. It's kind of why I'm a bit upset that we're out of the Carabao Cup, because that's a sort of easy tournament for you to get those sort of confidence players back into the right position. Because if you start missing in the league, you'll do what Calvert-Lewin did and go like 10 games without scoring. So
Yeah.
Beto just needs to get his scoring boots back, and it's just unfortunate that the striker situation's a bit miffed, but the midfield looking great. I love Dewsbury Hall, even though he's not getting the points FPL wise. He's always constantly impressing me. The defense has been a bit shaky. I'm not gonna lie.
And Brandt is out now as well for longer.
Yeah, so having more Keane in my team. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I've loved what I've seen of Pickford this season, even though we're conceding goals and all that type of
Still
stuff.
really good.
He's also been big reason why we've won the games we've won.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think Everton are just, you know, I'd like to put it like this. I think Everton are winning the games they should be winning, drawing the games where they should be drawing, and losing the games they should be losing. In that regard, it's like losing to Liverpool away from home makes sense. Losing to City away from home makes sense. Winning against Brighton at home, awesome.
Yeah.
Drawing Aston Villa, not great. Drawing against West Ham at the time wasn't great, but all things considered, new manager bounce or whatnot. Because if
Uh,
we had just
Not against
if we
Brentford.
had huh?
Not against Brentford. No manager bounce seen there for West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, yes, sure. But what I mean is more like I'm pretty sure we win the game if Potter was still in charge.
Yeah.
Now I say as Sweden manager, but yeah, better crop of players, I guess. I I yeah, I'm just generally speaking pretty happy with Everton so far. I could obviously see us lose this game too because Spurs can randomly show up against us and have done so many a times in the past, but I feel like we're in a good moment right now. They're sort of in a weird space right now. Drawing against Monaco probably wasn't really in the cards for them because they wanted to cement themselves better in the Champions League. So yeah, I'm hopeful. I think we can bounce back from the loss against City.
Yeah, fair enough. You have a really good team, but you have a bit of a striker problem, and you have David Moyes as manager, and I think the answer is Mikel Antonio. Bring him in. Let's get it done. You got Towns to the New York Knicks, and now you can get Antonio to Everton. Let's see if that happens. Wouldn't surprise me if he comes into the Moyes team eventually, but we'll see. No, you cannot
Maybe.
say.
I mean,
No,
I
no.
mean, for me, I feel like my God, I just want Lukaku back. I don't care what people say.
Or Richarlison.
People,
Speaking of
yeah,
Spurs, speaking of Spurs,
yeah. If they're not gonna play him, and like, but the thing is, I'm gonna just level with you. He is a Champions League level player, so I think he should either aspire
Spurs
to
fans
go
don't seem to
to,
think so at all.
yeah,
They hate
and
him.
which is crazy considering he's absolutely saved them many a times as of late. Spurs fan, hate him all you want, give him back to us, but I personally think Serie A, La Liga, like he's good enough for these sort of
He's such a Milan player.
yeah, pretty much
He's such a
like
Milan player.
like he is good enough to be playing for a Champions League level club, and Everton sadly aren't. Could he help us reach that one day? For sure, but there's still a myriad of things that we need to fix, and I think fullbacks, someone to replace Tarkowski that's good, like as good as Brantwaite and etc. But we are years away from that happening. So if Richarlison wants to sort that out and all this type of stuff, then yeah, go to AC Milan and these sort of clubs because he has the quality and talent to be playing for these level of clubs. But
Yep.
yeah, fuck Spurs, anyways.
True. All true things said there, especially the last part. But yeah, David Moyes has European pedigree, so we'll see. It could be quicker than you expect. It has happened at West
Yeah.
Ham, so it could happen at Everton. We'll see. But anyways, we'll also see about the next few fixtures coming up in Fantasy Premier League with Game Week 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 featured here on the Fixture Ticker with all the different teams and their fixtures ranked by the easiest fixtures on top and the worst fixtures on bottom. We actually have Liverpool with the best fixtures, but they're really good fixtures starting Game Week 12 with Nottingham Forest at home, West Ham away, and Sunderland at home. Before that, they have Brentford away. Brentford have been pretty good at home this season and look pretty good in general now. Like they've come along a long way now since the start of the season. I feel like Aston Villa at home, which is like not the easiest either. Aston Villa have been a lot better, and then City away, which is a really tough game. So yeah, we talked about Liverpool quite extensively before as well. They have some injury issues now with Isak potentially being injured and Frimpong being injured, like I just mentioned previously in the podcast. So we'll see what happens with Liverpool and their assets. But yeah, I think the first thing I want to talk about here is the newest development when it comes to managers in the league, and that is the fact that Nottingham Forest have sacked their manager for a second time this season. They have gotten rid of Ange Postecoglou after 8 games in charge, some of them in Europe as well, so not even that many games in the Premier League. And now we have a completely new manager with a completely new set of tactics again in Sean Dyche. But as you can see, Kevin is wearing an Everton kit. You're an Everton fan, as we just discussed right now. So you have a lot of experience with Sean Dyche as a manager, his most recent managerial appointment, actually. So I'm wondering, that just first, before we dive into the fixtures, like, what can we expect from Nottingham Forest switching from Ange Postecoglou to Sean Dyche after they previously had Nuno Espirito Santo, who is closer to Sean Dyche, I guess, in terms of defensive setup. But what do you think we can see from Nottingham Forest now? Will they still be a team to target in terms of scoring a lot of goals against them? Or will it now be more a case of getting defenders against Nottingham Forest? Because they can't score that many goals. I mean, Chris Wood and Sean Dyche is a dangerous combo, but what do you think of Nottingham Forest going forward now? Like, what type of team will we see now with Sean Dyche in charge?
I think, I mean, I was saying previously, once, I do think that he's the right man to keep them up, and I think Nottingham Forest will stay up, to be honest. Like, they've looked terrible, but they have the right players. I think defensively they do have, like, Milinkovic is much better than he's been showing himself to be. I think
Yeah.
Sells is kind of niff.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that you can expect from Sean Dyche is definitely keeping them up. The Douglas Luiz, there's so much good players there. He plays a boring brand of football, and I think that will sort of suit them. They can't play the Ange sort of
Expensive football, yeah.
yeah, and his crazy high line on all this bullshit and attacking football that just didn't make sense when they were at their worst period ever. And I think all that said, I think Sean Dyche is the right man to keep them up. He did the job with Everton, but that's all he's good for. He's
Yeah.
good to keep you up, and that's it. So if you have sort of these new no aspirations, he's not the right man.
Yeah.
So for this season, he is perfect. He will keep you up. He will sign Dwight McNeil in January for 20 odd mil.
Yeah, I can
I
see that
will
happening.
enjoy. I mean, I think Dwight McNeil is much better than what he's, shown this season because he's barely getting play time
Yeah.
and also had some injury issues and whatnot. But yeah, I think generally speaking, he's going to keep them up. I think them defensively will look much better. I think Milinkovic and these sort of players should be who you should target in FPL. But that being said, maybe stick away from them until we know for sure that they've actually course corrected a little bit. There's
Yeah.
no need to jump the ship. Though, sorry, jump the ship if you have a bunch of their players, but I still think that they can course correct because the quality there is too much. Like they spend so much money. Like they have 5 million right backs. Like they look good.
Yeah.
Like or sorry, they don't look good, but they will look good eventually because I
Look better
think
at
Dyche is
least.
uh will course correct.
Yeah.
Probably get like a low finish, like a 14th or something like that. Yeah.
And they'd be super happy with that, I think, at this point of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I
Okay,
think
maybe
like,
not 14th, like 16th. But
yeah,
yeah.
I think like Ange's like possibly biggest weakness is Sean Dyche's biggest strength, and that's set pieces. Like I think that's going to be the main thing to fix. They haven't been good at that,
Yeah.
and they should be because they have Milenkovic, they have Murillo, who's been a bit injured as well. You can't really forget about that either in the
Yep.
equation here. So they are going to improve, but I think like as FPL assets, I have no interest in them really because they are priced
Sure.
as a team that reached Europe last season, and they are not going to be close to anywhere, or they're not going to be anywhere close to that type of level. So the likes of Milenkovic and Murillo have already been price corrected this season, and you have so many 4.5-ish defenders who haven't been with DEFCON, but those guys already have those extra points or that extra high price. So yeah, in terms of assets, I don't really think about Nottingham Forest at all. Maybe Chris Wood eventually will find his form again under Sean Dyche. That could happen. But for now, I'm just staying away from Nottingham Forest assets entirely, but I'm thinking more in the sense of targeting them, like Bournemouth now. Playing at home against Forest, that seems like a good game. We both have 3-0. Sean Dyche will need to work his magic, I guess, or we'll need some time to fix his team. But also, I wanted to ask you, like, as an Everton fan who saw him with Everton, correct me if I'm wrong, but like he wasn't as defensively impressive with Everton as he was with Burnley, was he?
No, but there were like stints of it, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. I thought we were so shit defensively because he was like, I must play Michael Keane. But
Yeah.
we did have stints of being good defensively. So I can't like, especially in the first season, I can't really hold it against them. But
Mm-hmm.
second season, yeah, we were pretty dire.
Yeah. I think it's
Love
again
Moise.
the case with Everton is always like when Branthwaite is back in playing, you're really good defensively, and when Michael Keane is playing, you're not good defensively. So I think that still counts the same now as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the next few games, Bournemouth away or Bournemouth playing at home against Nottingham Forest, should be some good assets there. And especially for me, like I'm wondering, like should I keep Mbeumo long term, for example, like game week 10 when they play Nottingham Forest? How do you see that game working out? For example, Man United against Nottingham Forest at the City home ground. What do you think from that game, for example?
Man United against who, sorry?
Man United against Nottingham Forest, like in game week 10. Looking forward into the next few fixtures for Nottingham Forest, like will they be fixed by that point? Will Man United run riot because they have created a lot of chances this season?
I think the more realistic time frame for them to maybe get like a cheeky win will be the Leeds match because that is
Mm-hmm.
their sort of not direct rivals because Leeds have shown way like I shouldn't discredit Leeds too much, but I think that's more of a realistic time frame for them to sort of course correct. And I would probably say that Man United will probably win that game. To
Yeah,
be honest,
yeah,
like I think Man United will take this win against Liverpool in complete stride and probably like yes, I've said 2-2 against Brighton, but that's also uh credit to Brighton rather than discrediting
yeah,
Man United.
yeah,
If anything, if I were to discredit Man United, I would have said that they'd lose that game, which I don't think they will. I think there'll be a. It is such a huge win against Liverpool after everything. So yeah, I think it might be a bit too much to expect anything against United. Very impressive if they do, but they're not going to. I think Leeds, like winning the Leeds match, then going on Liverpool away, probably lose that hardcore. Then, yeah, my God, their fixtures look shit. Maybe target Wolves, who've looked even worse than they have in that regards, and Brighton at home could be a little 50-50 depending on if
it's
Morgan
Brighton.
Gibbs White. Because I,
That was 7-0 for us last season, by the way.
yeah, I know how much. But that's again, depends which Brighton you get as
Yeah.
well, because they're so inconsistent as well. So, but there are some decent enough fixtures for him to course correct, unless he's already sacked and Marinakis is taking over as coach. So,
Yeah, could happen. We don't really know. Wouldn't put it past him. But yeah,
yeah,
his teams have been humbled this past week with Olympiacos losing 6-1 in the Champions League as well against Barcelona. So
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, Nottingham Forest are a team that are sort of on the way down. We have a team that's actually on the way up despite losing most of their most impressive players, and that is Crystal Palace, who are looking really, really good. I think that's the most notable thing from this whole table is the fact that expected goals the last 6 games, they have 15.6 expected goals, which is crazy. Like they have created so many chances lately. It's kind of crazy. But now they're facing Arsenal. We've both gone with an Arsenal win there. I think a cheeky Mateta goal will happen, and that will supercharge his bandwagon before game week 10. Because game week 10 onwards, they have really nice fixtures. Brentford at home, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Man United at home, Burnley away. So like their home fixtures are winnable, especially Brentford, and then their away fixtures are against really bad teams in Wolves and Burnley. So yeah, I think Palace are looking really good now for the future. And speaking to someone like you who doesn't have a Palace player currently, right? what are you looking
Correct.
for in terms of Palace? Are you like, which is like the main guy you want to get from them? Are you looking to double up, triple up? Like, what's your plans for Crystal Palace assets going from Game Week 10 onwards, especially?
Yeah, I feel like there's a template three that most people will try to look at. Mateta, Sar, and Munoz.
Yeah,
So it's probably one, if not two, if not all three.
yeah,
Like Juan Pedro's thin motherfucking ice.
yeah,
Uh, he's on thin ice. Obviously, Gyökeres is like, I think Arsenal have good enough fixtures for me to keep him.
yeah,
But also on thin ice and frees up quite a bit of money just going from him because he's still 9 million. So,
yeah.
or he might be even less now because I don't
He's
know,
9
maybe
million
because of
still.
I think he didn't actually go down in the end because he
And
managed
he
to
went up
score
to
the brace.
9.1 earlier, and then he went down to 9.0
Yeah,
again now.
yeah. So I probably go up to 9.1 after he scores a brace against Palace. Come on.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, but yeah, I feel like they've got a standout three that you can aim for.
Yeah.
I think obviously Richards, Grahey, all these guys are also good because
Mm-hmm.
defensively they've been sound,
Yeah.
but I don't think I trust them enough. Like I don't trust pretty much anyone for a double up, specifically in the same position like defender or midfield or attack. So I would say right now, go for crap, go for one of those three, if not all three,
Yeah.
if they show the sort of form that they had before a really good team beat them. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. As you adjust your lighting, or if you've maybe done it already.
Mhm.
The next question I'm wondering, like, with that is just like which out of the three, like, if you were to rank those three, because I agree, like, those three are the main targets to get from Crystal Palace, Munoz, Sar, and Mateta. But how would you, like, in terms of importance of getting into your team for Game Week 10, how would you rank those three? Of course, it depends on what your team needs. Like, if you have really amazing strikers, you don't probably need to go to Mateta. Like, if you have Haaland, Voltemada, and someone else that's good, Thiago, for example, maybe you don't need to do it. But like, if like just blank slates, you are on a wall card, you can choose any player you want. Which player out of those three do you have ranked the highest?
I pro- I feel like Matez is super streaky, so hat trick is the best way to start a streak. So probably him number one. I would normally probably said Sar number one, him two, and Manos three. Only the only reason why I'm saying Manos three is despite them despite him getting a lot of points and stuff, they're still conceding left and right. So
Yeah,
I'd still think that attack is what you should um, target, but he's like a right winger
yeah,
in the way he
he's an
plays.
attacker
So
basically.
yeah, so it's sort of like how Ait Nouri used to play for Wolves of all clubs. Like he would be left wing, even though he's a left back. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, of course. You could just go in going like, ah, he's gonna get a attacking return, so it'll make up for the loss of clean sheet. But I think just purely based on the fact that we know Mateta's obviously the pen taker as well. Mateta number one, Sar is just consistently good, so
Yeah,
I'd say Sar number two, and Manos,
number three.
is the most fun defender out of all of them. But I think Way should get a look as well because he does get assists and
Yeah,
the odd goal
this
and stuff.
season.
Like
Yeah,
he's doing a contract year the finest way possible. Like he's gonna get his move to Real Madrid, Barca, or whatever clubs don't want him on the free. So
yeah,
yeah, for sure, he's playing some really good football right now.
yeah. Yeah, like I mentioned, three good options, and you ranked them with Mateta number one, Sar number two, and Munoz number three. And that is the same thing that I have done, basically. Really good options, really close options. I have Mateta number six in my weekly wildcard draft rankings, Sar number seven, and Munoz number eight. So, yes, I think these guys are really good, especially from game week 10 onwards, of course, because Arsenal is not really the jumping on point. If you don't have any of these guys, like you, for example, now's not the time to bring them in against Arsenal because, yeah, you're most likely just going to bench them anyways for that game. So might as well just wait a week. But this is the wildcard name that I've selected for this upcoming game week because I make a video every single week or every single game week with what I think is the best squad to have currently in Fantasy Premier League. And this is the squad that I landed on. Haaland and Semenyo make sense, number 1 and number 2, as always, really, because they've been the 2 best players in FPL so far this season. Gabriel and Timber, 3 and 4. Saka, number 5. The triple up on Palace with Mateta, Sarr, and Munoz, 6, 7, 8. Pope, number 9. Enzo as the 10th pick. Njai for Everton, number 11. I gotta rep Everton, and Njai has just looked amazing. I think he was so good against Man City. Goodman's number 12 for Leeds, really cheap defender. Senesi number 13, fallen down a bit in the rankings, but he has good fixtures and he is just really good. Dubravka 14 as the backup goalkeeper for 4.0, and Krupi Jr. as the number 15th pick, because he started in the last game, scored 2 goals, and has looked pretty good. And it looks like Evan Nilsson's going to be out for this game as well against Nottingham Forest at home. So I think Krupi Jr. is just a nice holdover to have you have a good player to play this game week while you bench one, 2, or 3 of the Palace assets, and then you can just bench Krupi Jr. from that point onwards and just hope that he gets to get some playing time eventually, because he's been really good lately. And now I'm speaking to you who had him early season as well as like the cheap striker option. You don't have him now, but you maybe wish you would have had him now. But Krupi Jr., like, what do you think from him versus Evan Nilsson eventually, like this season? Do you think he has a chance of being the starting striker for Bournemouth, or do you think it's just down to Evan Nilsson being injured and now he gets the chance? Like, what do you make of him as a player in general, and his potential as an FPL asset, not just for this game, but also beyond that?
Availability is the best ability in that sense, and I think he's taking his form and, he's doing the best he can with the time he's given. But I do think Evan Nelson will eventually take over the spot. But if he can continue, if he goes on like a Semenyo-esque run, then of course he's going to continue playing. But I think Evan Nelson will eventually take the spot again. But, you know, seize the moment, kid. Like he's what, a French international, if I remember correctly, like under 21s. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's clearly got the talent, and I like the goals he took and some of the goals he scored this season already in the very limited amount of time that he's gone. So clearly there is a bigger picture with him here, and he isn't just someone that they, plan to have and then eventually sell off to some other club where he comes good. Like, I think he will eventually get more and more minutes, but sadly, I think Evan Nelson will get more playing time and back to normal once he's completely fully fit.
Yeah, I think so too. But like I said, he's just a guy that you can start against Nottingham Forest, assuming Evan Nelson's still
For sure.
out. And then after that, you can just keep him benched, because the rest of this team is pretty stacked. Apart from Goodmanson, who's also cheap, like, you have just really quite expensive options all around in general with this team. So yeah, not too many changes from last time when you liked the team. So I assume you like this team as well. Or what do you think about this team in general as a totality, basically?
Yeah, I think it's always this every week. There's always one team you ignore at times when you do the wildcard draft. In this case, it's Liverpool. I think
Uh,
Gakpo's in good enough form.
yeah.
He's on the cusp and stuff like that. I also think that there should be some more Chelsea representation in either defense or potentially even goalkeeper. Sanchez is a bit, he only gets like 6 points when he does well. So, but like a Cucurella or who's on the cusp as well, or potentially Chalaba, who's a cheap enabler as well.
Reece James, do you trust him?
Um, I do trust him. It's just whether Maresca does, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I know the 18 points is not a fluke in that sense. Like, that is pretty much his ceiling. He is capable of doing these sort of games. Of course, goal and assist, and like, of course, he had to get a goal on his 200th appearance and all this type of stuff. Like, it's just written in the stars, right? But we know that Reece James is capable of this, and if he is staying fit, he's being rested really well by Maresca. Like, this was the Champions League match to bench him.
Mhm.
Like, it's the Barcelona game, which will be more important to have him well fit for. So, yeah, I do trust Reece James. I mean, I think he is a solid pick, and um, I do think that he will cement himself. He is their captain after all, and all this type of stuff. Like, I think he will eventually just be their starting right back, like week in, week out. I guess they're just being a bit careful with him. But I think he will eventually start most league matches and be used sparingly in the Champions League where he can be rested.
Mhm.
Because Chelsea are doing pretty well in the Champions League, all things considered.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about both Chelsea and Liverpool, but it is again down to like just cost. Like I don't have enough money, I feel
Hmm.
like, and I quite
Sure.
like all the like main players in this team. But I
Yeah.
did think about potentially rather than Goodmanson, who has good fixtures and plays like for a team that has been pretty impressive, could just go for Achampong, who's 3.9, who could start for
Yeah.
some games for Chelsea. Like that's a decent alternative, I guess, defensively.
Yeah.
Chalobah's also someone that I've brought up previously as well. Like he's pretty good for like not too expensive a price. I think he's like what 4.9 now, 5.1. He is. So he's also decent. And Reece James for 5.4. Like I am sort of tempted, but he has been like whenever people have brought him in the past, he's gotten injured again. So kind of fearful of that because I do quite like him as a player. Like he is fantastic when he does actually play and he's fit to play. So yeah, would
Mhm.
like to see that continue, of course. But yeah, I have listed those guys on the cusp: Kukurea and Gakpo, and Voltemade as well. Like he's someone that I was really unhappy about leaving out. So there are some variations there. That's why I have Senesi quite lowly ranked because I feel like the defense is really good with Gabriel, Timber, and Munoz. Like you don't need Senesi on top of that potentially. You could downgrade him to another 4 point, like a 3.9, like a Achampong for example, and then upgrade Njai to Gakpo or potentially downgrade Njai to someone cheaper and then have Voltemade up front, for example. So there are some variations there if you do really like Gakpo, if you do really like Voltemade, if you do really like Kukurea or any of the other Chelsea defenders, you could go for that tactic as well. But yeah, I think it's like a pretty good team in general. I think like the top 9 or 8 at least, like maybe Pope. I think for me Pope is like clearly the best goalkeeper currently. And Enzo for that matter as well. Like the top 10, I feel pretty good about in general. And then the bottom players are just like cheap players mostly, and then Njai and Senesi, who I quite like, but yeah, don't really see any like major alternatives for the same price point with them. But yeah. So yeah, that is the weekly wildcard draft team. If you want the full thoughts about every single player in this drafts, you can watch my weekly wildcard draft video, which is out on the channel as well. But now we're going to move on to Kevin's current plans. You have some potential transfer plans as well and getting some Arsenal assets. Even though they are playing Crystal Palace, you have gone for a 2-0 win for Arsenal once again. So you do have some faith in them scoring some goals. Your own suggestion was doing Salah to Saka. And then still, because you want Gabriel in, you would do Calafiori to Gabriel. I, of course, like Gabriel better than Calafiori, but I'm not sure if I would use a transfer on that when I can get someone else, for example. Like you mentioned to me now in the Walker drafts, go for a Chelsea defender, and that's what I've sort of gone with as an alternative here. Rather than selling Calafiori, you can keep him because he's been close to scoring. Like he hit the post in one game and then got a goal disallowed for an offside in the next game. Like he's also a goal scoring player, and he was rested once again now in the Champions League. He's going to play in the league once again, I think, unless Lewis Kelly's assist has made Arteta rethink things. But Calafiori is getting so much praise now, and he's been so amazing this season. So yeah, I think keeping him is fine, and then getting Kukurea instead, and just having those 3 Arsenal assets, and potentially like doing like a Gyökeres to Gabriel swap eventually could be more like the way to go potentially. But yeah, Gabriel is getting up in price as well. Like he's like 6.4 now, I think. Like he's really high in price all of a sudden. But of course, money is not going to be a huge issue for you. If you sell Salah for Saka, you're going to have plenty of money in the bank to upgrade elsewhere. You can upgrade Reinders to Enzo eventually, potentially. Or Gakpo, for example, like we mentioned. You could also just go straight from Salah to Gakpo and then go for Gabriel in defense that way. That's also an alternative for you. So plenty of different things you can do. If you have 2 transfers, I think that was like one of the main reasons that you saved the transfer last week and kept faith in Salah for one more game week. Because you want, like, when you sell Salah, you want to use that money immediately and not just have like 7 million in the bank. So yeah, a lot of different options here for your team. A lot of other players to consider as well. A lot of benching decisions here as well in terms of who to start. Like Goodmanson and Dewsbury Hall have decent-ish fixtures, I think, in this game week. Juf and Reinders, for example. Van de Ven, not so sure about those guys. So I want to know who is like your preferred starting 11 and what is like your preferred transfers after all of these thoughts from me now, currently with your team.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be pretty good to. I think I'll bench Van de Ven because I think we're gonna score at the very least against them, and Van de Ven is pretty useless unless he gets his random goal or assist that he's capable of, to be fair to him. He's always close to it. Could have come, he came really close against Aston Villa as well, where he headed just over at the bar. So yeah, I do think Van de Ven is on the chopping block in terms of being benched and maybe throwing in a Dewsbury Hall in. Reinders is pissing me off a little bit, but not enough to make me go -4 for him. Um, but I could go -4 and bring in Enzo as well, or potentially, nah, maybe Enzo. Um, Saka Gabriel looks nice. Saka Cucurella looks nice. Cucurella was, of course, rested in this game pretty much. Don't think he came
The
on, to be
Champions League,
fair.
yeah.
I think him and a bunch of them didn't get, and there was a lot of early subs. Caicedo getting benched pretty early in as well because the match was pretty much over. So yeah, I do think that Saka is quite high up there, especially because he looks like he's actually taking the pens again. So
Yeah.
it didn't seem like a one-off there. It seems like uh, and it's not like Chris has to take one for confidence now that he scored
Yeah,
a brace in the Champions League
exactly.
as well. So, yeah, it's going to be really strange because it was such a weird one. Because I do think he would have taken it against Newcastle, which is weird, but then he didn't in the next game. So, a bit of a conundrum there. But I do not like not having Gabriel because he is getting things done correctly.
Yeah.
But Saka, feels like a I feel like I've just held on to Salah for too long, and their matches
Yeah.
aren't necessarily amazing either
Yeah.
until eventually where it gets good again.
But like
But then,
weighing them up against each other, Salah against Brentford away, Saka against Crystal Palace at home. Like, I mean, Saka's in much better form. Arsenal are much better form. But like, I get like I really get like the temptation to sell Salah. I like, especially since you've held off on doing that for several weeks. Like, it just like that's the part of FPL which is psychology, is the fact that like you've had Salah for several weeks and you thought like, should I sell him? No. Should I sell him? No. And at some point it's just a boiling point, like, should I sell him? Yes. I'm tired of doing this. Like, I sort of get
yeah,
it, but
of
at the same
course.
time, like, just looking at those two, since Saka is playing Palace, which is a good team, Salah, I mean, Brentford looked pretty good against West Ham, but that is mostly down to West Ham being bad, I think. Or I don't know. Could you keep Salah for one more week and then have 3 transfers and have even more ways to use his funds? Like, is that a possibility for you, or are you dead set on selling Salah now?
It's just more like, what's the point? When I know that yes, Brentford away, it like yeah, Brentford aren't amazing, right?
Yeah,
Fine, I'll give you that, but at the same time, like Salah's been shit.
yeah,
Like I think that's the most important thing. And
yeah,
also, I save up funds.
yeah,
He takes up a lot of money. He shouldn't be for 14.5, whatever the hell he costs. I should not be getting 2 points on average.
yeah,
It's not good enough.
yeah,
And to just keep holding on to him in the hopes that he eventually come good, he will eventually come
yeah,
good. There will be a point where everyone will regret not having him, but by that point, you would have made up the points anyway. So it
yeah,
doesn't really matter. Like if I like hindsight's 2020, but if I had, what I should have done with my wild card is just get rid of Solid and just gone a Bruno or gone a this guy or that guy because then I could have spread the I was never intending on selling Salah Haaland because Haaland was just in the form of his life
yeah.
and Sa- Salah has not been that. Saka necessarily hasn't been in amazing form, but he's back. He is like fully back to being himself and all this type of stuff. And Liverpool are just in a really bad moment. I mean, yes, maybe I could consider keeping him, but I gotta make some moves or something. I
Mm-hmm.
like maybe I can keep him one more week and then get him. Maybe get Saka afterwards because it's a easier run of games for him. Because if Salah blanks in the next game as well, I'm gonna regret not having sold him. Like
Mm-hmm.
he has to come good, or like he's 14 point. Like it's too much money.
Yeah, it is.
And I should have sold him weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago, yeah. Yeah, I guess now is as good of a time as any. And yes, Saka is facing a pretty good team in Palace, but Palace have also been free scoring and offensively minded lately. Like defensively, they haven't even been that good. Like if you look back at the Fixture Ticker, I think they had 8.7.
That's what I said.
Expected goals conceded. Yeah,
they concede goals for fun.
Yeah, I think it's just like the fact that like you don't really have to use the funds either, but you can do that next week. Like you can use the funds to upgrade Reinders, and you could, like you mentioned as well previously, you could do a -4 and upgrade Reinders as well to someone like Enzo. Like I think that could be worth it as well in this instance. So you could use even more and do a hit to get like a super good team. But yeah. But back to your starting lineup as well. Assuming you do, for example, if you do the first option there, Salah to Saka, Calafiori to Gabriel, you would have the same starting 11, but you would have, of course, Saka rather than Salah and Gabriel rather than Calafiori with the transfers. But yeah, you would bench Van de Ven for who would you bring in? Dewsbury Hall or Goodmanson, if that's the case? And would you bench Juve as well, or like what's your thinking with the starters and Reinders?
I'll start Jeff. I'd probably start Reinders, but let's be honest. If I do a -4, it will be for Reinders.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could very much see myself doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I do sell Salah, I'm gonna spend, baby.
Yeah. So would you start, like I said, then I assume Petrovic starts, Gabriel, Senesi, Juve, whoever you bring in for Reinders, Semenyo, Salah, Haaland, or not Saka, Haaland, Gyökeres, Joe Pedro, and then the final starter will be Goodmanson or Dewsbury Hall?
Yeah.
Who?
It'll be Dewsbury Hall, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I think that sounds like a plan. I think maybe the -4, could be something to consider, especially with Reinders, like getting subbed off before 60 minutes in the league and then not playing at all in the Champions League. I don't think that bodes well for his minutes, but I don't know. It's apparently Nico Gonzalez got a bit injured now as well, and Rodri's already out, so maybe Reinders will play, but more as like a defensive midfielder. I'm not sure if that's going to help him either in terms of FPL, so yeah, maybe the -4 is the right move, or maybe you can, since Palace have been so good and could score in this game. Maybe you can just wait one more week to bring an Arsenal defender in. But I do also
what I'm currently weighing up is potentially the Saka Cucurella one more than the option 1, and potentially even bringing Enzo in too.
Okay. Yeah.
So Saka, Salah, Van de Ven, and Reinders out for, God damn it, for Saka, Cucurella, and Enzo.
Yeah, for -4. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, got most of the answers from you on what your plans are for this next game week. Let's go to Kimo, the third founding member of the FPL Scope podcast. And for him, I sort of have the same. I think this is the week, like if you're looking to do transfers, I think getting Chelsea players is the way to go. And here as well, Pedro Porro to Cucurella. I think that just seems like a transfer that makes sense. But also Kimo has this third Arsenal spot open, so getting Saka in somehow would also be nice. But that's the thing, like that I'm wondering with the transfers. That's why I'm like considering just standing pat as well and just waiting and see if he can get Saka in next game week some other way, or this game week as well. Like there are some opportunities here. But yeah, I don't really see any like super easy plans to get in Saka here either. Going from Kudus to Saka would leave some money in the bank, because I think Kudus is like 6.7, 6.6 currently. So that gets you up to 8.8. So you're still like 1.2 away. So you need to downgrade. If that's the case, you need to downgrade Pedro Porro to like a 4.4 or less type of defender to be able to afford Kudus to Saka. I guess you could do that with the 2 free transfers. The other options that I have, just going from Stach to Enzo. Like I think Enzo is just a really good player to have this game week at home to Sunderland, being on penalties. Played 1/2 again for Chelsea now in the Champions League, scored a penalty, and was subbed off. I think that's perfect for someone like him, getting back into fitness. Also, the other option, just Pedro Porro to Cucurella. You could do both. Like I'm not sure if you can afford both actually, or you can probably afford both. I think both Stach to Enzo and Pedro Porro to Cucurella, but that also leaves you in a tough spot when it comes to Saka potentially, or another Arsenal defender. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, there's a lot of different things to do here for Kimo. I'm assuming you would lean towards doing a transfer because like the team is not really that good either. You could also just use the funds to upgrade Konsa to Kukurea, for example, and keeping Pedro Porro, but I honestly don't see the point in keeping Pedro Porro now with the fixtures that Spurs have and the price of Pedro Porro and just how many good alternatives there are. But the upside to keeping him one more week is the fact that you can just sell him to Munoz next week, because you don't want Munoz this week, but next week you want him in, and you need to find that money somehow as well. So maybe that is the expensive defender that you want to bring in alongside Gabriel as well. So a lot of things to consider for Kimo's team as well. He has a pretty good team in general, but he has a couple weak points. Double Burnley defense as well. They are playing Wolves this week, so it's not like a super important issue to fix. But Konsa, Reinildo, Estev, Pedro Porro, like 4 out of the 5 defensive picks are not ideal for like a starting team. So I think the defense is what I would prefer to fix. But yeah, what do you think? What do you reckon with Kimo's team? What is the first priority for you looking at his team now for Game Week 9 and all the things that I just mentioned now as well, with things to consider with the Palace players and Saka as well coming into the equation here?
Yeah, I think getting rid of the Spurs players seems pretty suboptimal. I think obviously Saka is much better than Enzo offensively, but the two selling points for both of them is the being on pens, and it seems like Chelsea are actually able to create a lot of penalties because
Yeah.
Estevao's and Juan Pedro's and all these, they have a lot of these players who are just capable of just winning pens, and I think Enzo and Cucurella both for stock and Pedro Porro seems like a really good play. Chelsea have really good fixtures to target, and yeah, I do think of course, Arsenal are great, but he has Gabriel and Gyökeres, so he could wait and see what happens with the Brunos and stuff like that in case he wants to find another way of getting him, which is obviously through Bruno. Um, I also think Konsa is just a waste of money.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think
He
he's
has been all
Aston
season.
Villa. Aston Villa have just aren't just good defensively at all. So,
Been a bit better defensively now lately, but
eh.
But
But like,
Konsa, like he was always like from the start of the season, like he was like the template pick that I didn't understand. Like he's not good for DEFCON at all. He doesn't get goals, doesn't
no,
get assists, doesn't even get clean
no.
sheets. Like what's the point?
He was just in a really good period, like towards the end of the season last time. But
Yeah,
that was like complete.
that's probably why.
Uh, it was just like a complete fluke, in my opinion. Like
Yeah,
not in the sense that he's not capable of doing it. It's just it's rare.
yeah,
It's like when I had Matt Loughton back in the day, and he went crazy. So Lord Loughton, as I used to call him. Um, yeah, any like anyone can be lucky like that, but I never understood it either. And Aston Villa have proven me right. Like they're not
yeah,
amazing defensively.
yeah,
They concede a lot and
yeah,
have difficult matches like City at home. I don't expect that to be a shutout. Famous last words, sure, but like Holland's too
yeah,
good form. Bernardo Silva's looking good. Even Savinha's looking good. Doka's looking good. Like they're finally hitting a bit of form, and
yeah.
Donnarumma
Cherky's
is
coming back,
just
Marmoush coming back. Like they're
yeah,
yeah.
and Donnarumma's looking
Like
great as
Nori,
well. And like
Donnarumm's
yeah,
looking good.
City are legit contenders. And
Yeah,
once Rodri is fully fit,
yeah,
they're gonna be maybe that will be the point of contention for them. But I do still think Rodgers, one of the best players in the world. So
yeah.
yeah,
Of course. So yeah, just to summarize it, like what would you be your ideal
I
transfers for Kimo?
I would do either stock to. I do either one of these transfers, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just whatever you fancy more. I think defensively speaking, might be better to shore it up, you know, for the future, because the midfield is decent-ish. But why not just do both?
Yeah, could do
Yeah,
that. It's
genuinely,
just
it's
like the fact is just like you don't have enough transfers next game week potentially to do like more things, which is like I feel like Game Week 9 is more like unless you're going for Chelsea players, which is what Kimo could do in this instance. I don't think
mhm.
that feel like there's that many good like long term picks, and even Chelsea like they have good fixtures until like Game Week 12, but after that it's kind of a mixed bag. Like it's not like the best fixtures for them after that. So yeah, more like he needs another Arsenal player, and he needs a lot of Palace players, and that's why I would prefer to wait like a little bit. That's why I like was Like, my first inclination was just like stand pat and then load up on Arsenal and Palace players next week, but because there was no like easy route to Saka in this team, I think, except for selling Fernandes, but you don't want to do that against Brighton at home, so that's why I originally leaned towards standing pat for Kimo, but yeah, my light also going out. But anyways, I think maybe one of these two transfers, but I think I would save the transfer to have 2 free transfers next week to bring in Palace and Arsenal players a different way, potentially. Maybe do Jökers to Mateta and Saka in for someone, if you can do that next week, if you save the money here. But yeah, a lot of different alternatives, really. Let's go on to the manager of the week, and I'm going to try to fix my lights, so I'm going to give you the floor now and what you would do with this team in general. Also, just a reminder, this team has wildcard, free hit, and bench boost left, so there is more reasons to be more short-term, like short-sighted with this team, because there are more ways to change the team as well pretty soon. But yeah, looking at this team from Max Smithson, what is like the main things you can look at with 3 free transfers? Remember that as well, and 0.4 in the bank to use for this team.
Yeah, for sure. I think both option 1 and 2 are very viable. I think Enzo, Cucurella are definitely the Chelsea players to look out for if you don't already have Joao Pedro, and in this case he does. So, he's covered his grounds really well with the team that he has. But I think there is room for improvement, and I think Foden out makes the most sense because Foden in was so popular amongst content creators and all this type of stuff when I believe they were going to face Burnley, and he had a good result, has a good record against Burnley and all this type of stuff. But Enzo is actually playing the way a lot of content creators wanted him to, and is looking great. And he might have, did he blank against Nottingham Forest? I feel like he did, but he didn't play, right? So that's probably why. And he's just in great form and has been for like a year now. So Enzo Cucurella makes perfect sense. I think it makes more sense because he already has Gabriel. You have the main Arsenal defender. Enzo Cucurella makes so much sense. Just even short term from that point, you can switch things up. You can get Sar if you need to switch Enzo into him, and with Cucurella in the base of the team and who will go up in price and stuff like that. I think personally it's a good jumping point towards another team as well. So even if it's until game week 12, yes, they play Arsenal in 13, but then on 14, I believe they're playing, who is it, Leeds?
Leeds, yeah, that's their good fixture.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, or this part of the season.
And Chelsea have been good away from home. So, and I think by then I would expect Palmer's already back, right?
Yeah, I think he's going to be back around gaming 13, maybe for the Arsenal gaming in gaming 13 or gaming 12 right after the international break. That's like where they're aiming for. So yeah, I think Leeds he's going to be back for. But yeah, they have Arsenal gaming 13 at home, Leeds away. Leeds have been pretty good at Ellen Road. That's why I'm like not completely sold on that fixture, but
sure.
It is still a decent fixture. Bournemouth away, that's pretty tough. Everton at home, that's pretty tough still. Newcastle away, it's pretty tough. Then Aston Villa.
Of course, they do have like a disastrous run of fixtures, but by that point he's going to have to use his wild card anyways.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's when that is one fun thing about getting these Chelsea players in, because for the time being they have really good fixtures going into it, and then you will eventually even get 5 free transfers by game week 13, was it? So
16, gaming 16, you get 5.
Oh, 16, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then you can even wildcard in with that in mind too, so you can even have even more rentals and stuff like that. So
yeah,
play with it, man.
Yeah,
have fun, and I'd say go for the Chelsea players because he's got incredible spread here.
Yeah. I made a video earlier this week where I looked through my plans for the next few game weeks going into that African Cup of Nations type of break where we got 5 new transfers in game week 16. And my current plan is just going to game week 15 before a wildcard and then have 5 free transfers the next week, where I basically have the perfect team for the next few game weeks and then also have the full amount of transfers. So I'm liking that, but I think for this team with free hit as well, in the arsenal, I think that could be used to this manager's advantage. And yeah, like we mentioned with Chelsea, they have Arsenal in Game Week 13, which is where you want to jump off of Chelsea players, but then they have that Leeds away game in Game Week 14. So for this manager who has free hit left on top of Wildcard, I think potentially wildcarding in Game Week 13 and using a free hit in Game Week 14 to bring in those Arsenal and Chelsea players when they have good fixtures, that could be a viable strategy as well. Of course, in this team, you already have triple City, so that's like part of the reason why you would wildcard in Game Week 13 to bring in a lot of City players, but I'm not so sure if Foden and Reinders are the best assets to have from City at that point either. I think it might be better to go for defensive type of players. So yeah, I don't mind selling Foden. Anderson, we'll see how injured he is, but Fulham have just been conceding goals. Like, they have been decent in terms of expected goals conceded, but they always seem to concede 1 or 2 goals every game. They don't typically concede like 3-4 goals, but when you concede 1 goal, that's enough to delete the clean sheet and basically delete the main part of why you have a defender there. So I sold Anderson myself for Timber 2 game weeks back. I'm not regretting that. And I think Anderson is someone that you could sell, especially if he's injured now for the games against Sunderland and Wolves. So yeah, I would lean towards the Foden to Enzo and Anderson to Kukurea type of move, and then still leave yourself open to having more Arsenal players when they have easier fixtures after the Palace fixture. But you could also go with Timber as well on top of that. So several things to do here, and like I said, consider the Game Week 13 wildcard, the Game Week 14 free hit combination. I think that's something that no one else will be able to do, or very few people will be able to do, because very few people have wildcard and free hit left. So I think that's a good thing to do as well. And also, could also potentially look at a bench boost here. It's not the worst week for a bench boost, I guess, but yeah, this manager has saved the bench boosts until now, so maybe it's saving it for a special occasion, but could use the 3 transfers there and have a really good solid team and use the bench boost as well and get even higher up the standings, because like I said, Max Smithson is doing incredibly well so far this season, being I think like 20k overall at this moment in time. So yeah, fantastic start to the season. I think it's going to be a fantastic rest of the season as well if you play your cards right, because your team is looking really good. You have 3 free transfers, you have 3 chips left. Like, this is one of the best situations I've seen in FPL, I think, currently in the game. So all the best of luck going into the future. But yeah, that was the Manager of the Week this week, Max Smithson, the Game Week 8 Manager of the Week. And like I said previously in this podcast, if you guys watching want to be the Manager of the Week as well, you can join the FPL Scope Mini League with the league code FNPQ83. And if you get the highest score in any game week that's coming up, you will be featured on the podcast, just like Max Smithson was right now. And with that, we are finished with the podcast. It has come to its conclusion. And as always, at the end of the podcast, I leave the final word for Kevin before we leave you guys. Yeah, basically. So yeah, Kevin, take it away before we end this recording.
I've said it once, I'll say it again. Fuck Spurs.